another edition of not the morning after show, not the Ole Miss morning after show. This is the morning after a bunch of portal stuff has happened. This is just me and Brad missing each other, man. Want to talk some ball, talk some Ole Miss football, Ole Miss recruiting, whatever really we fancy on this December 12th, 2023. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. Like I said, he's Bradley Sowell, former Ole Miss offensive lineman, 8-year NFL vet. If you haven't already subscribed, rate, review Talk of Champions, that's the podcast network that you're tuned into. This is the flagship on the Talk of Champions network. But when you do get a chance, go to Talk of Champions, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, wherever, and leave us a 5-star review. And check out the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com. If you live on 3, that's where I write and work and talk, and that's where Brad hangs out and talks sometimes. And I don't think he'd be good at writing. I don't even want to give you a chance to write. I've seen you write, and I don't want to give you that chance. Hey, buddy, what's up?
It's autocorrect, dude. Stop. As I sit here, which I have to say this, as I sit here, I hear from like a distance in my house downstairs a screwdriver. Sorry, like a electric screwdriver.
Oh,
I didn't know I even had one of those, but apparently I do. And my wife is doing something with a screwdriver or electric screwdriver. So this ought to be interesting after the show to go down there and check out what she's doing, because that's kind of terrifying.
that's kind of awesome. I'm not a handy person. My wife is more handy than me. So that's like, I think we're kind of the same in that way. You don't look like the handiest kind of guy.
I mean, I could be handy. It just depends. But she certainly is not overly handy. So this will be fun. I'm gonna have to be taking apart or doing something, I'd imagine, here soon.
Perhaps she's handsy, but not handy.
Handy.
No?
Maybe so. Maybe
No?
so.
Okay, we're not doing this. This is the flagship. A lot going on right now with Ole Miss football. Zach and I did a new edition of the recruiting show, #NotCommitted, that you can find on the Talk of Champions podcast network, where we went target by target through the Ole Miss transfer portal hot list, because, man, Ole Miss is on fire right now. I don't really want to rehash all of that, but I am curious your thoughts on what Ole Miss is doing right now in the portal. They're on fire, Brad.
Yeah, I think that everybody kind of senses the same thing, and as this portal's unfolding, is like the momentum and like the sense of urgency is out of control right now. Like it is, I can feel it. I think everybody can kind of feel it. Like the push to make the playoffs and, you know, do something special next year is in full force, right? Ole Miss is all in. I think everybody can feel it. I mean, you got huge, you got Prescorn, Trey Harris, all these players announcing they're coming back. And now you see all these really big time players that we're in the mix for. And I think we're going to land a few. I mean, we get that kid from Florida, the DN from Florida, and Nolan together, buddy, that would be huge. I'm talking like huge. And I think if you get one of those guys, a domino effect happens, right? It's like, man, Ole Miss is all in. They got all their players returning. They just added these key defensive players, which we've added other guys that are good ball players too. The Arkansas kid, the Illinois kid. So I mean, we're adding pieces, but a few of those big dominoes fall. Shit could get really real. And I think the excitement. I mean, I hate that. Honestly, at this point, I don't give a shit what happens in the Peach Bowl. I'm like, cool, whatever. I'm excited for next year. You know,
Are
what
you
I mean?
not going to the Peach Bowl? You're not going to go?
Yeah, no, I'll probably end up going. I'll watch it.
I told y'all he'd go. He's going to go.
But like the result of that is I'm ready for camp next year. I'm ready to open up the season next year and let's make a legit run at a playoff shot. Because I think that, with everybody returning, man, we should. I've just been excited. I mean, this is I don't think anybody can argue this. This is probably one of the most exciting times in Ole Miss sports history that I can remember. I mean, I think that like we're so close to being a big dog. Like I don't know if we are a big spender, but man, we're sure acting like we can hang with the big dog. So either we got a big line of credit or we're just going out there saying F it. We're going for it. So, and I like that.
I think it's the legwork that they've done since 2020, progressively getting out in front of the portal, and the philosophy is ever evolving and never changing. But Ole Miss has been aggressively progressive in being good at that. So no, they're not spending more than Georgia and Bama and the other ones. They're just operating on a higher plane than maybe their other competitors in their tier. Right.
Well,
like there was a time when we were like
too.
in Ole Miss hang with Tennessee, and Kentucky was paying a lot of money. But now Ole Miss, when you think of the 14 teams, soon to be 16 teams in the SEC, right now, as far as results are concerned, and now recruiting results are concerned, it is Georgia and Alabama, and Ole Miss is number 3. And that I think is, just a testament unto itself.
Well, I also saw where recently there was something, you may have seen the same thing. I may have saw it posted from you or something, where the top portal, place, destination, the number one ranked destination is Ole Miss, right? I mean, it makes a ton of sense from an overall, playing time, everything else. So it's turned into kind of one of those places where like, man, we're really starting to be attractive, and we're getting visits from pretty much whoever. But man, if we can get this damn Florida kid, I think he'll be huge. To have a true pass rusher in this Nolan kid, those are two that I think would make the dominoes just completely. I mean, we're talking massive type of momentum.
The impact is crazy potentially for what Ole Miss is going after. You spoke about Walter Nolan, Princely from Florida,
Mm-hmm.
the edge. I mean, there's so many guys they're in on. And I spoke about this with Zach on the recruiting show. Again, if you really want to deep dive into recruiting, that's not what we're here for. But if you want to deep dive into that, hashtag not committed went up today. And that's just me and Zach for an hour talking about all of this stuff. So if you're confused about the portal, the targets, and who we're talking about, that should straighten you out. But when you consider what Ole Miss has done as far as constructing a roster where they got a third-year starting quarterback coming back. Like we for the
It's
longest
crazy in 2023. That's crazy.
crazy.
Insane.
Trey Harris will be in his second year. Jordan Watkins will be in his third year. These are Ole Miss rebels. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. The progressiveness of not just going and getting hired guns. Yeah, Judkins' third year. This is now positioned for Ole Miss to realistically next year with an expanded playoff, Brad, to go to the playoff. This is what you and I have been wanting since we came onto this earth. We were born and raised into this. We've been talking about Ole Miss since we've known each other, like 2007 when you played and I started on the beat, and now here we are. All we ever wanted to see was Ole Miss be a legitimate, true national championship contender. And if they get done what we think they can get done and are going to get done in the portal, that is exactly what they're going to be. And I mean, I don't think anybody would have predicted back when Lane was first hired that he would be entering year 5 with a veteran roster. Because we all thought, okay, if he won 10 games twice in 4 years, the 2 10-win regular seasons in Ole Miss history, yeah, he would be gone. He's here, and it feels like Ole Miss is so firmly footed on what it is, how it operates. I mean, I said it on the other show, but I'll say it here.
And I think another comforting thing, too, is the way they're handling the portal and the moment. It pretty much should shut down any, hey, Lane's going to leave for NFL or any kind of coaching. Like, dude's all in on the portal. He's all in on building Ole Miss, and it's obvious. You know what I mean? So all that. So it's nice not to have to deal with, Lane's leaving. Lane's not leaving, dude. He's all in right now. I think he feels it. Everybody feels it. We were so close this year. Now we're 10-2. I personally don't think we're the greatest 10-2 team in the world. I think you look at our schedule. There was 4 games that could have been either way, SEC games, but we're better than the average. I think he kind of feels like, hey man, we're right there. We're really, if we add the right pieces, we could easily make a run next year and be in the top 8. And it's crazy to say, but we have everybody coming back, man. I mean, we really do. I mean, at this point, we can honestly say it. You got Pettis, you got pre-scoring's coming. I mean, everybody's coming back. These are some of your better players, and if they stay healthy, which that's always the key in every championship run, is staying healthy. I mean, dude, there's going to be no excuse. You know what I mean? There's going to be no excuse. And you mess around and get Juice Wells in here as well. Stop,
dude.
Dude,
See, that's
can you
what I'm
imagine
saying.
Trey Harris and Juice Wells, and surely when they're selling, I wish I could go out and sell for us. Like I would sell the hell out of this. Like, dude, can you imagine Juice Wells and freaking Trey Harris to get like with
and Deion Smith, the number 1 JUCO, former LSU Tiger that was supposed to be here this time last year.
When I text you, go back in your text when I watch him that first game of the year. What I tell you, I said, "Holy, this Deion dude is legit." Call a slant and like house at 80 yards or 90 yards or something crazy. I said, "Oh my god." So, and you got Aiden Williams, who should be in the second year. I mean, our receiving core should be literally 4 NFL guys.
And that's what I'm saying. Like when you look at Ole Miss and its roster next year, if Alabama was on the helmet, if Georgia was on the helmet, no, let's take that out of there. That's not fair. Let's just say if Auburn was on the helmet and they were returning the core of a 10-win team, the most important, significant players of a 10-win team, and on top of that, addressing their needs in the portal with the best players in the portal. Walter Nolan's going to be on Ole Miss's campus this weekend. He's the number 1 player in the transfer portal. He's a defensive tackle transfer from Texas A&M, originally from Olive Branch, went to Texas A&M. I think Ole Miss is in the driver's seat, even though he went to Oregon last weekend. So not only is the core of a 10-win team returning, but they're addressing it in the most high profile and significant way they possibly can. That's the formula for what? a championship caliber team. And if Auburn was on the helmet, not Ole Miss, I think that Ole Miss would be getting the just due that it deserves right now. Ole Miss isn't being talked about enough for how well operationally is rolling. I mean, they are one of the biggest stories in college football, in my opinion.
The best part about that though is like we don't want that. You don't want that. I mean, and I'm sure Lane don't want that. Hey, don't say anything about us, right? See what happens, because the best part about football is you get to settle it on the field. And I think this team and Lane, I think everybody sees it. We're gonna have a real chance to settle on the field next year, and with the way the schedule sets up, man, I'm telling you, dude. I've been breaking down the schedule, thinking I got like categories of, hey, these are swing games, these are games we got to win, these are games that could be potential losses, but if we win, it takes you to another level. But man, I don't, unless teams just get a lot better, and we really need Jaden Daniels to leave, which would be great.
Yes,
and
yes.
he is.
He's gone. He's gone.
He's gone, and then his backup just left as well. So
Meyer.
Yeah, I mean, it sets up, and Georgia's at home. So, dude, like, can you imagine? Here, let's just pour the freaking Kool-Aid super deep today. Like, let's just do that. This is what it is, right? It's a Tuesday. Nobody's doing shit on a Tuesday. Let's pour some Kool-Aid deep.
We're pouring up some Kool-Aid on a Tuesday.
Can you imagine undefeated would almost be like 8-0, 7-0, maybe by the time we play Georgia next year, we'd just be what, 9-0, 8-0, somewhere in there. Maybe. Georgia and Ole Miss undefeated in Oxford next year. Basically like a top 5 matchup.
We marked time off of the 2014 Ole Miss Alabama game, and that came in a year when Ole Miss lost multiple games and really didn't. It wasn't. I mean, they got to the top, I think in the top 4, top 3, whatever. State got to number 1, but Ole Miss was never really a national championship contender. That was the first taste of it. This year, you had that exact same experience. Was the Alabama game, but maybe it was LSU at home, and you had that environment and that exact same kind of circumstance. But now it's commonplace. We expect Ole Miss to be in those games and winning those games. I just want us to all take a moment, especially the me and Brads of the world. And I think everybody listening to this podcast will feel the same way. I just want everybody to take a moment and appreciate that we are now assuming 9-10 wins, and we're talking about going into Georgia undefeated. This is how the Blue Bloods talk. This is how Clemson talked after it broke through the glass ceiling and became Clemson. You know, it was for a while there. Clemson was Auburn. Clemson was all those other kind of tier 2 schools. Ole Miss, who would you trade places with? I mean, Auburn would trade places with Ole Miss right now.
Yeah.
With roster, coaching staff, recruiting. LSU, I don't know. LSU's LSU. But if you look around at their counterparts in the SEC, Arkansas, Mississippi State for sure, but they're not our counterpart anymore. If you look across the SEC, Ole Miss, outside of Georgia and Alabama, who's been more consistent? Florida hasn't. And Florida, they're all chasing the same thing that Ole Miss is doing right now, and that is making themselves a viable candidate for an expanded playoff. Ole Miss is not only a viable candidate, they've been in this year. Ole Miss is reinforcing a playoff caliber team. They're trying to say, no, we know we're in. Now let's go win.
The greatest part about it, though, this year is we were not expecting to be a playoff. We were expecting to be a good football team. If you look, if any normal Ole Miss fan would have looked at our schedule, they'd have said, "Hey, 8-4, 9-3 is probably the ceiling this year," and we found a way. That's what's cool about it. Like, and was SEC great this year? I don't think so. I think there was a lot of teams that were very average, and we were above the average. We definitely were. But the fact that we found a way to look at the schedule and said, hey, we everybody said Georgia and Alabama are going to be losses. I mean, for the most part, that's at their places. I mean, come on, if you're being realistic. But guess what? We won the 10 others, and 2 of our non-con games, I mean, they weren't exactly cupcakes. They weren't great.
Tulane's in that. It was
Georgia Tech weren't exactly.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech and Tulane weren't exactly just the worst teams in the world. So, yeah, you look at the schedule, we found a way. That's what's cool about it. And I've always said, hey, 2024, because the way our schedule set up was going to be our year. And that's if all pieces came back. And I've said this in the podcast before. You're like, don't get excited. You know, don't get too ahead of yourself because it's a portal. You know, I've said, listen, if all these guys will get together and come back, dude, I mean, the next thing we need to talk about is, hey, how do you handle this? How do these guys handle because I've been in this situation before. Now we went 11 we went 11 or 12 wins with the Bears.
I thought we were talking about South Carolina.
No, I ain't worried about, dude, that shit. I was 19 at the time. I don't care nothing about that shit. I don't even remember that game.
I remember it.
16 years ago. I don't even remember. Actually,
you got Eric Norwood PTSD.
No, dude, I had a way worse game versus Auburn that year. Like, way worse. It wasn't even close. But
the only mistake you made was talking to the media after the game because you were pissed.
Dude, imagine Imagine being a little redneck from Hernando, and all of a sudden you're doing a little media thing. I have no clue. The only thing I ever talked to was my damn mic on the PlayStation. You know
You
what
were
I mean?
so pissed off after. I mean, that was it. Wasn't handled
I don't
well
even
by
remember, honestly.
Ole Miss's media relations. I'll never forget it because you came in there and the look on your face. I mean, you were just. Of course you are. Look what just happened. And this was you. You were.
Who requested me that day? Why would you want to talk to me?
I guess
Well,
because
who wanted to talk to me that day?
yeah.
That
Why
was
did
the
Bobby have
stupidest
to
thing
talk?
ever.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby got Eric Norwood too. I mean, why didn't he have to talk? You know what I mean? Like, why did Brad get sick? I tell you
Yeah,
why, because the Ole Miss media relations, they always choose guys that are like the best guys. They send him out there when it's good, bad, they're consistent. Cedric Johnson's been that guy for him this year. You're one of those guys. You're the send him out there. He's not going to do any harm. But
well,
that
here
was
comes old Brad from Hernando with the swoop. I said,
yeah.
I don't give a shit.
I'm glad the ranking's gone. No, but it's just a good example though of that team as good as it was. It's always been hypothetical. It's always been
Yeah.
theoretical what Ole Miss could be. Oh man, they were right there. I think even that situation is a good example of it. Not breaking through. Ole Miss
But not really though.
broken
Like at
through.
that time, like people don't realize like the SEC was unreal at that time. There was no like where we are now in the SEC. We were nothing like that. The SEC was stacked. I mean, absolutely stacked for that year on that team. And I mean, even your bad teams were solid back then. And I don't know that we had a Lane Kiffin type calling the plays at the time. Hell, we didn't even use Dexter McCluster for that game in South Carolina. We didn't really have the
He moved
star
him to
power.
running back to Houston Nutt in the second half.
We
and
did
everybody
not.
and their mother.
We did
knew to
not
put him
have the
in.
star power on the coaching staff to lead that team to actually being what it could have been. Now, and also the offenses just weren't involved like they are now. Like this is a totally different ball game. We were still running power eye, just an actual back when I was playing, which is not that long ago. Like you actually had to drop back. You had to actually drop back and like block your DN. Like now everything's a run fake or run action. Like it's just a totally different ball game at that time, and that's why O-line play is the way it is now. But Ole Miss was ranked high at that time, but we were nothing like where we are now, talent wise. We had some good players, but in the coaching staff, we were nowhere near what we have now to lead a group like that. We were exactly what we were, a 9-win ball team, and it's just where we are now coaching wise is just too. It's on another level, dude. Like we have a $9 million coach at the time. We had a $3 million coach. Okay, like that's different.
Since
that's
then,
a different ball game.
Since that post game locker room that you still, as you've grown, gotten married, finished your career, gotten married, and have kids, you're a full on adult now. Since that, it doesn't seem that long ago, but the prices of poker, the price of poker has gone up for the coaches, for the players, and that the game has changed. I think we finally need to recognize this, man. We're not young anymore. We're not. Okay. I know I got a baby face and I still wear stupid hats because I refuse to grow up, and Brad's got coiffed hair, but we are not grown-ups. But we are, because what we've always wanted was this, even those conversations, being number 4. Oh, Ole Miss is right there. Finally. Ole Miss was right there all year this year. They never really left. Right. And they're there right now. They're about to play Penn State in their second Access Bowl in 4 years. For the first time ever, they're playing Penn State. If they beat Penn State, it's their first 11-win season ever. And we can't get used to just taking this stuff for granted, And I have fallen victim to it. Yeah. After Ole Miss lost to Alabama, and I wasn't happy about it. I had plenty of stuff to say. But that's a good example.
It felt like we were about to go on a downfall of losses after that. But we didn't, thank goodness. But we just had this conversation off the air. We just had this conversation about finance. Hey, no matter how much money you make, you always want that next number, right? And you can make X amount, and I wish I had this. It doesn't matter where you get to. And we were like, man, we kind of agree. It's where you get with Ole Miss at times, or where you get when you're winning. Like, now here we are 10-2. Would have taken this like none other years ago, and now it's like, man, we need to be better. We need to win the national championship.
Hey, you were there. Okay. You remember it. You remember 2-10.
Yes, I do. I remember losing a lot of Tech at home.
I remember when poor Brad, he didn't have the transfer portal, and he was trying his damnedest to be a good soldier and say, man, I'm telling you, Zach Stout kind of looks like Jevin Sneed. He was
physically, maybe.
He was not. But you were trying to be. That's not knocking you, but Ole Miss is in a different place now. Now Jevin Sneed is Jackson Dart, and Zach Stout is Walker Howard. There's a
Yeah.
difference in the
Well,
quality.
the fast track to winning now is insane, right? Like if you had a hole at Ole Miss back when I was playing, or back even people before us, you had to recruit a freshman to come in and develop him for a couple of years. You could get someone as a transfer portal, but it's not going to fix your hole immediately. They had to sit out a year, so you couldn't
Jeremiah
just
Masoli was the closest thing that you got to that.
if you had a quarterback issue, you were at least 2 years away from fixing it, at least. Now we have quarterbacks now that would start on half the teams in the nation, if not more. I mean, you got Walker Howard that didn't even touch the field. That would have been, I mean, he would have been a great quarterback for most teams in the SEC. I bet Auburn would have loved to have him
What a kill
all
for
year.
him.
Yeah, so it's just a different day and age. Like the fast track to being good it's almost like basketball. Whenever all their transfer, when they were just the 1 year players, and you can get 5 new players and win a championship, and they all go to the NBA, and you do it the next year. Same kind of football's like that now. I mean, you can go get what you need and get it fast, which is cool. There's some suckiness about it, but it is cool too.
The initial fear was that the rich were only going to get richer, and this is something we talked about. Me and Zach were not committed. That is not what has happened. It has leveled the playing field to where Ole Miss can realistically. There are no more obstacles put in their way. The only thing holding an Ole Miss back, or a team that aspires to break into that championship caliber tier, the only thing holding you back now is yourselves. It's complete. The onus has been put on the coaches and the players, yes, but the fans as well. And Ole Miss fans have responded by raising a shit ton of money and are showing no signs of slowing down. To keep that momentum and to make it sustainable, that's the big question. But I mean, we're old people. We man, if Ole Miss could just win at this level, and here we are, and we're talking about it like it's normal, and it's not, because Ole Miss is about to go into next year as a top 10 team, returning a Heisman candidate at quarterback. Early Heisman candidate released this week odds, and he's in there as Jackson Dart. Quinn Sean was a sleeper going into this year. Yeah, and you're running back. And you've got Trey Harris, who was a stud in 1 year, that we all expected of all the guys they brought in. He's probably the most likely to leave because he's going to be a high round pick, and he's coming back. On top of Deion Smith, maybe Juice Wells.
Think about this, dude. So they stacked the box a ton this year, right? Like that was one of the issues. Now, we didn't block it as great either. But what do you do when you have Juice Wells and Trey Harris out there and you're trying to stack the box?
And Deion Smith.
And Deion Smith
and Jordan Watkins.
Or even Jordan Watkins. That's a great 4. And Aiden Williams, he's obviously going to be a stud. You can have a really good 5 good receiver. But how do you stack the box in that case? Either they're going to stop Juckins, or Trey Harris is going to catch for 1,600 yards. You decide, right? Like you can hold Juckins to 1,000 yards, but if we are where I think we are next year, you'll be to throw deep all day. So it puts a defense in a real bind if we get these certain players. And this is what I'd be selling. This is what I would be selling to the Juice Well. Like, hey guys, like we need like 2 bodies to really make a difference here on each side of the ball. And obviously with our O-line and D-line, we need to fix that up. But man, we really have something good to sell, and I think that's why all the guys, and it kind of shows. I think it kind of shows the closeness of the team. There's no way all those guys return without them talking to each other, right? Somebody's gotten together and said, "Hey, like, let's do something great. Like, they're going to pay us good money. Don't go rush to the NFL. You've seen what happens when you rush to the NFL, dude. Like it is so hard to make it in the NFL."
You could quite literally be done with football.
You can quite literally be amazing. You can quite literally be an amazing football player and not making the NFL. I see it happen all the time. You're just in a bad situation and you don't get your chance, and you can be a great football player and not make it. Hell, even Benito Jones at first wasn't looking like he wasn't going to make it. Dude's
undrafted free agent, but he
got the right opportunity. And I tried to. It's about luck and timing, dude. I'm telling you, I could have easily gotten cut after my first camp. Got lucky, guys. Got hurt. Don't think I'm any great of a player. I got lucky and I got the right opportunities and met the right coach that actually liked me. But that doesn't happen for everybody. If you can make a couple $100,000 or even 500 or whatever some of these guys are paid, keep your ass in college and have fun. Because when you rush off there, you're literally one camp away from being done and not making a dime. You might as well enjoy your college, get as much education as possible, because at the end of the day, now that I'm out, that shit's important. The education is extremely important, because that's more like, hell, I played 9 years and I'm still 34. Thank God I got an education. I got to work for the next 20-something years, right? Keep your ass in college, get an education, and make a little money if you can, and now you got a great team.
I've
Hell,
been trying to make you be a full-on media person, but he just
now you have a great opportunity. You made a couple $100,000. You're on a great college team, and you still have the same opportunity to make it to the NFL. You'll get that shot, but that's going to come with luck. Only the elite ones make it through pretty unscathed. But man, for the most part, the rest of you, it's a battle, man. I mean, if you don't get in the right situation, look at Matt Corral, man, and he was a good player at Ole Miss. Everybody thought he was going to make it,
and he's out.
right?
He's
he
out.
goes to the damn Panthers, shitty organization, hurts his foot. They move quick. They aren't sitting around waiting for you to get back and develop. Dude, now you're gone. Now he's out.
My heart sank when I saw that he'd broken his foot because I went, "That is the worst."
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Because he already wasn't a high pick, right?
He's a third rounder, and that's probably what Trey was going to be, a third rounder. He got banged up this year, and I can get why he's coming back. It's still a surprise because I thought he would test well, but it's different now. It used to be if I can get anywhere from 1 to 4, first round to fourth round, I'm gone. Bobby Massey left because he thought he could work his way from the fourth to the first, and he actually had some first round momentum for a second there, but then he falls to the fourth. Point being is I feel as if Trey's feedback on top of the money he's making, the conversation with Lane, the opportunity in front of him, you're starting to see a shift too with players to where it's not as black and white are these decisions anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they have to really consider their long-term. Caden Prieskorn, old days, Caden Prieskorn married with a kid, he'd be out the door yesterday. You know what I mean? Ready to go pro.
Because you couldn't make any money, right? Like now you got to say, hey, do I take let's call it $400,000. Do I take the $400,000 and secure that and know I got a place that's going to pay me this $400,000 to come back and play? And all it's really going to cost me is 6 months, right? The spring you just work out. You got some spring football. You get to have fun in the spring.
Good player starter, and you've had injuries. You're not going to play you.
You have 15 practices in the spring, 15 that you show up for and do. Do I take the $400,000 now, or do I try to go early? And if Caden Prieskorn, best he could probably do, he's not fast. He's not that fast. So maybe by the grace of God, he goes in fourth round, right? Your signing bonus ain't but $500,000, $600,000.
What you're making here.
Essentially what you're about to make in college, guaranteed. So you may get that signing bonus. And that's a Caden Prieskorn test amazing. Honestly, it's probably six rounder, right? That's $120,000, $150,000, right? You can it's a better situation to stay in college for a reasonable number. If you at least guaranteed. Now, if you do amazing and he gets the third round or something, maybe it's a $800,000, $900,000 signing bonus. But you don't want to chance that. If you go undrafted, that's $10,000, bro. That's nothing. You just passed that $400,000 from a college that's willing to pay you. So it makes sense now if you're not a high guy to stay now, which is great for college football. There's 28-year-olds out there playing now. You got COVID year, you got a redshirt year, you got a second redshirt year. I mean, dude, there's literally 28-year-olds playing college football. It's great, but
like Dylan Gabriel. Think about Dylan Gabriel. He visited Ole Miss. He was the quarterback, that was going to be before they landed Jackson Dart. He was the guy. Levy was still here, and Dylan Gabriel has now gone from Central Florida to Oklahoma to now he's a quarterback at Oregon. It's a weird dynamic, but then you look at Ole Miss, and I've made the joke a lot. Like, you're not going to look back on, and I use Zach Evans just because he's a one and done guy. I love Zach Evans, great player. He's still with the Rams. I mean, he hasn't gotten a lot of run or anything, but we're used to looking back at Romero and Deuce and Corey Peterson, the good Rebels, right? Like that really you grew up on. Who are you growing up on now in this aging culture? And I would make the joke about Zach Evans, but then you look at the roster now, and Jackson Dart's in his third year. Quinshon's in his third year. I mean, Ole Miss did a hell of a job of responding to the new culture shift in the sport, and now they're about to reap potentially the benefits on the recruiting trail, which could lead to them next year legitimately going for a freaking national title. It's just us. Oh, God. We can't do this to ourselves. But here's the thing, though.
Put your red mic away. Good.
Here's the thing, though. My buddy Whit Spencer bought this for me. Yeah, he's my guy. I love it, dude. It stands out, and it's very Ole Missy because it's red. Anyway, 10-2 was this year. Chris Beard is undefeated in his first year through 9 games with Ole Miss basketball. The first time Ole Miss has started 9-0 for the fourth time in school history, I should say. Baseball won a national championship in 2022. Last year was a disaster. But Brad, if there was ever a time for us to print off Kool-Aid shirts with our faces on it and just hand them out to the masses and let them build the Ben and Brad squad, this is it.
Yeah.
dude. Because
I'm so in on basketball too right now.
which is an accomplishment by itself because you're not a huge basketball guy.
I haven't been in on basketball since Marshall Henderson probably was my last time I was really this in on basketball. Which I enjoyed. I liked basketball when I was at school. I went to a ton of the games. That's what you do on a Tuesday night, whatever. Walk over from the dorms and go to the game. But man, this is actually a fun team. Well, I've been texting you a lot about basketball.
I am
watching every game. I'm watching every game now. So what he's done is incredible. That's a whole nother conversation. But man, that roster is fun to watch. I'm be excited to see what we do in SEC play. But I think we've beaten SEC caliber teams. Central Florida was a solid team, and so was Memphis.
So was NC State. NC State was a tournament team.
But to your point, Ole Miss sports, are we turning the corner? I would argue we have two of the best, which Bianco is too. Everybody, whatever. But football, basketball, you have two coaches that can coach anywhere in the nation. In my mind, those are two that can coach anywhere.
I just wanted to see Lane.
And Alabama would hire Lane Kiffin. Would any other coach we ever had, would Alabama hire him? Maybe Hugh Freeze as offense coordinator, but as a head
if he would have
coach,
kept winning and Alabama would have turned, they would have tried to hire him because Florida tried to hire him.
Chris Beard was at Texas, dude. That is a legit basketball program, right?
I just needed to see Lane Kiffin stay somewhere, and the fact that that Ole Miss is the place he ended up staying. It's remarkable. He's been here.
I honestly think this place is perfect for him.
I do too. And I actually think that this place is perfect for Chris Beard too, from the people I've talked to. I think he really likes it here. So the days of, we all have the scar tissue of Tommy Tuberville leaving in the dead of night and abandoning Ole Miss, and David Cutcliffe heroically coming in and taking over and winning the Independence Bowl. We are a far cry from hoping that Tommy Tuberville doesn't leave and getting David Cutcliffe to win the Independence Bowl. Because now Chris Beard is quite literally one of the very best coaches in his sport. My twin brother Steven, he's not really ever been that much in Ole Miss basketball, but he's been taking. He's like, I don't understand how they're so good. It can't just be because Chris Beard is good. Yes, people who are elite at what they do, they do a good job at what they do. They get results.
Flanagan, Sharp, Musa, Murph. We have a whole new team essentially. You got a couple leftovers that are decent, Morale and Brakefield.
Matthew Morrell's been great. He's playing off the ball, but he has more talent around him than he's ever had before. He gets to play his role. Jamin Brakefield gets to play their roles. They're not having to play oversized roles, do things that they're not comfortable doing or aren't good doing. We've done it to ourselves. All right, here you go. This will close us out then. Who wins a national championship first?
Oh gosh, don't do this.
All right, wait. Who gets to a national championship game first? Because, hey, no one expected 2019 Texas Tech to make the title game, and Chris Beard took them there. He's taken Ole Miss would be his fourth separate program to take to the NCAA tournament since 2016. And again, they're 9-0 after winning 13 combined games last year, including 3 in the league. So, which one gets to the title game first? Ole Miss baseball already has, but let's just throw them in there anyway. Ole Miss football, basketball, or baseball. If you had to bet on one to make the title game next year, who would it be? Football.
Can you let me know after Walker Nolan, Juice Wells, and Princely commits in the next 2 days, 3 days?
If they were to commit, what do you think Ole Miss would? Where would Ole Miss be for you as far as a true championship contender?
If those 3 committed and we added 3 offensive linemen that could legitly just be serviceable, I got to be great, be serviceable. Ole Miss would have a legit shot at winning national. I mean legit. I would be
preseason number 6 in the country is what they would be.
Yeah, you should be around there, and we should hold it all year. We should be in the conversation.
Oh no! Oh God!
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we're doing it. But
how do we handle it? This is the thing. We're in unprecedented territory too, because we're used to Ole Miss being a one way. So we're gonna have to adjust as well.
Dude, I just cracked up in my head when you gave me that flashback of how excited I was that we won the Independence Bowl and David Cutcliffe is coming in to save the day. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be able to win 7 games now, Dad. Right? If we win 8, dude, we could potentially get one of them Florida Bowls. We can't afford to go to it. But man, hell, we'll have a good time watching it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Hell, we can go to that. We should want to go to the freaking Liberty Bowl and Independence Bowl because we can drive to it, right? and like maybe pack some bologna. Like anybody in Mississippi will understand this when
We were
I'm
really
painting here.
excited to go to Detroit for the Motor City Bowl, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, the ones close by though, you can bring a cooler with a bologna sandwich in it, bologna meat and cheese, and
Like you're
some
going to the
damn
zoo for
beer.
a day,
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in the
dude.
stacks.
And like a hotel room, shit, no, boy.
No.
We were driving down there, and as soon as that game ends at freaking 11 o'clock, we driving our ass all the way back. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that was what Ole Miss was growing up, right? Like then you had the '03 year that was different, but for the most part, dude, we just trying to make the Independence Bowl, baby. But we're different now. We have turned the corner now. But for the semi young fan that grew up on Ole Miss, like we're trying to figure out how to handle this. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
almost 40, man. That's the problem. Is like, when do we
yeah.
finally say, you know what? A new era has arrived, both in the fandom and the everything. I don't know. All I know is this.
Here's what I'm proud of. Too.
Okay.
I don't want to cut you off, but like
I've been doing it to
I've
you
been
all,
saying this
all
shit
show.
forever. I've been saying this shit forever. Ole Miss has always been a sleeping giant. We have a beautiful campus. It's a great place to live. It's safe. There's no reason why we shouldn't. If you pour the right resource in there, which we have, there's no reason this place can't be an Alabama type or be a destination for people to come win
Well, I don't know.
championships.
The only issue I would say is if Mississippi were smart back in the day, Mississippi State and Ole Miss would have been one school. Even USM, they'd have been one school and dominated like LSU. However, that didn't happen. You had your
Yeah.
factions, and now people hate each other. This is the closest we've ever seen Ole Miss to being in that conversation. The
But we
real
can let Mississippi State
conversation.
drop off and be like Southern Miss, honestly, because the more that now this NIL's in place. I mean, how do they compete with us? Honestly, if we're going to keep doing the shit we're doing in NIL, which everybody knows, without saying that we're raising a hell of a lot of money,
Well, I mean,
right?
look at it this way: Dylan Gabriel, when Jeff Lebby was at Ole Miss as the offensive coordinator, got on campus, was coming here, and the reason he didn't is because Jeff Lebby left and went to Oklahoma. You know,
Yeah.
and now Dylan Gabriel leaves Oklahoma because it's Jackson Arnold's job. They always planned for this 2 years and gone. They thought he'd be going to the NFL. He still has eligibility. They mutually agreed to part ways to Oklahoma and Dylan Gabriel, even though he was great for them. And you got State talking about they got $2 million to pay for a quarterback, and Jeff Lebby can't even get Dylan Gabriel to visit. That's his guy. You know.
Um,
So
I just
there is a difference.
I think Oregon is just really tough to compete with in NIL. That's why I'm scared with the Nolan kid. I think that Oregon has got some real. I mean, they got some real money. They really do. Like they got the freaking. Listen, the only reason I'm saying it because I was in Seattle and the Phil Knight guys connected with that shit some kind of way, and it was the most absurd type of like organization ever played for. I mean, their equipment room was the size of most people's facility, and everything was free. Like most facilities, you go in there, you go to the desk. Hey, I need a pair of shorts, a shirt, and they're marking it off. They're taking inventory. Whereas the Seahawks are like, hey, we got all this old Nike shit. Can you come grab a bag and give it out to your family? Like it was just a different kind of vibe in Seattle, right? So
Couldn't
that's the kind of money that's it just doesn't. It's
grab a
just not. It's
couple
a
of
different ball game.
couldn't grab a couple pullovers for your friend Ben. I'm just
Dude, anybody that visited Seattle, they were wanting you to come take the stuff. Whereas like Arizona was like was their family business, right? So it's like, okay, you got a Gatorade today, a shirt, and a pair of shorts. Where Seattle's like, I'll give you this freaking badass leather bag and fill it up with as much stuff as possible. So you're going through every. I mean, dude, the opening, like the cases inside the locker, inside the equipment room, like big rolly cases that are like all the way up to the. I mean, it was crazy. You got to get a ladder to get some of the shit down. I was like, oh, there's the XL hoodies in the top. We haven't seen those in 3 years. There's the 3-year-old models. Grab 5 of those. Like it was insane, man.
oh, you should have grabbed one for your friend Ben. But I will say, if this does come to fruition, and this time next year we're previewing a playoff team, a playoff game, I should say, we are going to have to do some special, kind of like maybe a watch party at the thing or a big Ole Miss get together. Just we'll all wear our Kool-Aid shirts and just go all in on this shit.
Dude, can
Because
you imagine?
these are the good old
Dude,
days.
I'm just yeah, it's gonna be a fun year. We got to figure out how to handle it as a team. Like I said, the year when we were in the Bears, we won 12-4. Came back the next year, went 8-8, and we had the exact same roster. And we actually added a couple key pieces in free agency, right? And that came from dudes that had nothing, went out, got something, or were hanging out in the city a little too much, getting a lot of attaboys, pats on the back. Hey, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. And when it came to time to doing the shit that got you there at the beginning, they just it wasn't quite there. People had a little bit more ego after going 12-4, right? Than we did when we were just the old shitty Bears. The year before we won 4 games. Well, you win 12 and everybody's patting you on the back. Hey, hopefully the leaders on our team, the older guys, are willing to say, hey, man, we're going to work the same way. I don't give a shit. And if there is somebody stepping out of line and acting different because they have something now or because they have accomplished something, then hopefully some of the leaders will step in and shut it down, because that kind of stuff will kill a vibe and will kill a team's path. But yeah, I mean, we got everything in front of us, dude. Like, this is gonna be the funnest year, whether it happens or not. It's gonna be the lead up to it. Surely gonna be. I mean, it's surely gonna be a damn lead up.
Gonna be a circus, and we'll be there every step of the way, as long as Brad will just agree to do the show with me regularly. I've been trying, and trying. And I can't get him to promise anything.
Let's do some Christmas lists, dude. Before we go, what's Ben's Christmas list, Ole Miss Christmas list?
Ben's Ole Miss Christmas list. For sure, Walter Nolan.
I'll take that.
I want to win for Ole Miss basketball in its SEC opener at Tennessee.
Dude, that would be sick.
They always open at somewhere. It's ridiculous.
Wow. And it's always at like a high-ranked SEC team. It's crazy. I kind of want to go to that game. There's an outside chance I'm going to go there.
I'm actually going. You can jump in with me.
Are you?
Go. Yeah.
I'm the same way. That's like one of my favorite places to visit in SEC. Football, if we ever go back there in football, I'm there 1,000%. That was one of the funnest games I've ever been to, and hopefully we win again because they are obnoxious. But Knoxville's fun to go to, man. Like, I love going up there.
Well, we can't have everything, even though that's what my children do. They ask for everything these days on the Christmas list. So I'm going to say, how about we have 3 for our Christmas list, our Ole Miss Christmas list. All right, my first 2 are Walter Nolan and a win for Ole Miss basketball over Tennessee in their SEC opener in January. And the third one would be, I want the Princely dude from Florida. I want him.
Yeah, that was going to be my number one. I love a good pass rusher.
All right, well, give me 3.
3.
It can be an Ole Miss baseball national championship again, rebounding, because that's your favorite.
3 for Ole Miss. So I would say, an O lineman. Just give me like a top, like a high end O lineman.
Jerquan Scott from Southern Miss is about to commit, I think, and then
and here's the thing. I've seen some talk on him. Like, you take him for sure. He's a 4th ranked lineman in the portal. You take as many of those guys as you can, let it sort itself out when we get here. People are like, oh, I want the Carter. Well, the Carter Smith kid isn't even ranked as high as this kid, right? So
just get good bodies.
Yeah, just get good bodies. So I would say number 1 would be get good bodies. Number 2 would be for, I don't know. You took all.
You want Juice?
Yeah, you took all mine. Juice would be number 2. Just because I start watching highlights and I'm like, dude, he reminds me of Deebo Samuel, which is weird because Deebo, isn't he from South Carolina?
Yeah,
that's who he reminds me of. That's like he's like a little bit kind of thicker, but like whenever he gets the ball, he can run.
Oh my God! So Deion Smith is Justin Jefferson. Juice Wells is Deebo Samuel. Trey Harris is
Keenan Allen all day. Like literally, when I watch Keenan Allen play, it is Trey Harris. It's unbelievable. Same build, everything. Man, we're terrible.
All right, the third one can be. It doesn't have to be football. It can be whatever you want it to be for Ole Miss. Your Christmas list. Just say it. You want the baseball. You got to have your baseball.
No, I'm not focusing on baseball right now because last year did something to me. It's the first time I've ever experienced a bad Ole Miss baseball team. So I'm gonna let that all play out. I'm gonna let my expectations be low on that. I would say a solid tight end coach. Okay. I would say a solid hire in the coaching staff. I think that I don't know if that role's been filled yet.
It has not been filled, and very, very little rumblings about it. And I think that's by design. I don't think they're focused on it.
Yeah, I may or may not have reached out about that, and it was told it's a they're gonna let it wait. That's gonna be I don't think they're gonna rush it. So
Bradley Sowell as Ole Miss's tight ends coach would have been just the best.
No, it would never happen. I'm not qualified.
Hey, you can go be True Maroon, go be an analyst for Mississippi State, offensive line analyst, get your foot in the door with your boy, Jeff Levy.
I don't know if I could do that.
I'm just going to put it this way.
I'll admit this. I told my dad, I said, hey, me and Levy are good buddies. I said, I don't know if he would ever ask me to coach. I don't think he would. I said, Dad, what if I went to Mississippi State to coach? He said, boy, you trying to get my ass ran out of Mississippi? You go there, don't call me.
I love
my dad literally was about to disown me. So I said, all right, well, we're going to keep our Rebel gear on.
All right, Dad.
All
Read
right.
you loud and clear, even though I'm almost 40 years old. Oh, you're 34.
He texted me 8 times after that. You really ain't considering that, are you, bro? I said, no. Like, he's just not. No, he's just a friend. Like, he said, no, I don't have any coaching experience. He's not going to ask me to coach. Like,
I kept asking you if you were wrapped in maroon and white yet. That's what I kept doing.
Everybody keeps saying that. I'm like, no, I just play golf with a guy. We're buddies.
I do have something I want to do for next year, since the cowbells are obviously a competitive advantage and it's complete horseshit that they're still allowed. I want to buy those things. I don't. What are the horns at soccer, like the Vazuzu horns, something or other. I'm gonna buy like 10,000. All right, and everybody, I'm gonna hand them out to just 10,000, and we're gonna blow our Hazuzu horns responsibly. Like they ring it, and then what's the SEC gonna say?
Can we do something cooler than a Bazuzu horn, though?
Whatever it is. Okay, fine. Yeah. Whatever. Pick something. But all I want to do is I think we need to be like Ole Miss people and Ole Miss fans need to be the one to really push this. We need to challenge the SEC because this is horse shit. Those cowbells they're good. They shouldn't be allowed. They're not fair.
They won 5 games. We don't give a shit about a bell. Like time to your ladies to walk around.
That's that old Ole Miss in me. I'm sorry. That's that old Ole Miss coming back. That's that independence.
Time to your ladies to walk around. Let's go.
He's Bradley Sowell, former Ole Miss offensive lineman, 8-year NFL vet. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. We're both on the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com and Affiliate on 3. I write and talk there. He hangs out and talks about Ole Miss stuff. So if you want to check us out, that's the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com and Affiliate on 3. And if you sign up today, you can get a sub for as low as $1. $1 just to talk about your Ole Miss Rebels and the hot and heavy nature of the portal right now for them all day, every day. The Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com and Affiliate on 3. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
See you, Ben. Howdy toddy.
What are you smiling?